Hey, what's going on, Purple People podcast fans? Welcome to this week's show. It is a packed one. It is March 18th, 2020. My name is Kyle Smith. I am joined by the one and only Adam Carlson. How are you, sir?
Hi, I'm okay.
We're going to cheer Adam up today. Me and Kyle West. Kyle West is here too. How are you doing?
Hey, I am actually looking forward to this week's episode because there's a lot of news, a lot of Vikings news, a lot of stuff going on right now.
Yeah,
I just got an update about Tom Brady. What's going on?
Yeah, we'll tackle. We're going to go through all this stuff as wildly and sporadically as we can.
Yeah.
This episode is 385. Skolquitt. I wanted to do something with a Stefon Diggs theme, but we've done that before. But yeah, the Vikings have agreed in terms because free agency doesn't start for another hour. The tampering window started Monday, so they can do all this, crazy deals before they're actually official. But yeah,
tampering starts as soon as the regular season is over. What are you talking about?
I don't know why they have that stupid rule.
Yeah,
I really don't. Like, they're not texting each other on the side doing business deals anyways. And if they get caught, they'll just destroy their phone. Isn't that right, Tom Brady?
Yeah. Have a fall guy, as Chris Carter would say.
I'm all for that. That's a genius idea. Yeah, I named this episode this week after Britton Skolquitt. We have some good news with him. We're going to jump into, like I said, we have a ton of stuff to talk about this week. So NFL free agency is in full swing with the coronavirus pandemic going around the world right now. The NBA, the NHL, NASCAR, Masters Golf, everything is shut down. But the NFL has proceeded forward with free agency. And it's kind of taken over the world the last 48 hours. Just going to get the big names out of the way, and we'll talk about the Vikings in a second. Tom Brady is no longer a New England Patriot. If you're living under a rock, he signed with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, which is just weird to say.
Has he signed, or is it just like speculation that that's probably where he's going to go?
I don't think he can officially sign, but they've all just agreed, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
From what I hear, it's a $30 million a year deal, multi-year deal. I think 2 or 3 at the most. It's really weird to say that just out loud. I never in a million years would have thought that team is where he would land. But between the LA Chargers and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, that's what he chose. There were talks of Indy. I didn't think that was going to happen because of the Peyton Manning legacy, although I think they would have been a decent fit. That's weird to say, man. Tom Brady has moved on. DeAndre Hopkins, Jesus Christ, Bill O'Brien, what are you doing?
No.
DeAndre Hopkins left the Texans and was traded to the Arizona Cardinals for David Johnson, which 4 years ago, that would have been the name to get. And a second-round pick. Terrible trade.
And some hand sanitizer.
Yeah.
That's about what they got out of that deal.
Yeah, that was crazy. We'll compare that DeAndre Hopkins trade later when we talk about Stefon Diggs.
What the Vikings got out of Diggs. Vikings came out in tip-top shape compared to that one.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I mean, who else moved on? Phillip Rivers signed with the Colts for a 1-year deal.
That's right. Yeah.
Colts went to the Bears today, so there's
I like Phillip Rivers with the Colts.
Yeah, he has history with Frank Reich, I believe, which is pretty interesting.
I think so too.
Really, the only question mark that's up in the air right now is what is New England going to do? They have the choice of Jameis Winston now that Tom Brady is in Tampa Bay, or they can go with Andy Dalton, which I think would be a good fit for them. Because we all think that he's going to draft. The Bengals are going to draft Joe Burrow. So there's a ton of names. There were so many moves and pretty household names, but we're not going to go through every single team and all their transactions. But those are the big names. If you haven't heard, we're glad to break that to you. But there's a ton of Viking news. So let's start with that. Quick hits today. The Vikings terminated the contracts of Linval Joseph, who now signed with the LA Chargers.
Right on.
Xavier Rhodes and David Morgan. So, yeah.
Pretty, two of those three, I don't know why my voice just cracked. I'm secretly 14. Two of those three are a couple pretty big names for the Vikings, pretty big contributors for the Vikings. Not to downplay David Morgan, good role player, but Xavier Rhodes and Linval Joseph were two staples of this Vikings defense for a while now, both in decline.
Pro Bowl players.
Yeah, definitely more so with Xavier than what I think Linval was. But Linval was in a little bit of a decline too. But Mike Zimmer being cold-hearted, just flat out making some moves for this team. Thank you, fuck you, bye, Xavier Rhodes.
Yeah, Rick Spielman, you didn't hear anything about negotiations for restructuring, pay reduction, anything like that. It was just chop.
Tip of the hat to you guys. Good luck.
I'm with you guys. I have nothing against these players. We loved them while they were here. We're not going to act like we didn't fanboy like when Xavier went down. Antonio Brown and Odell Beckham and Julio Jones all in one season was phenomenal. When he was at the top of his game,
he was good
to be, one of the best, if not the best. He had at least 1 year where he was in arguments to be the best corner in the game. I think the Vikings were smart to move on. For what I saw, and I'm not a football expert, and you guys please weigh in. From what I saw, there's just something a little off. I don't know if it's a physical decline or if it was just a mental thing that he couldn't overcome last year. But when you're ranked like 130-something out of all the active corners to be graded, I mean, that's just dreadful. It's beyond bad. It was awful. So I think a fresh start for Xavier is a good thing. And he hasn't signed with anybody as of right now. So if we could update you to where he's going, we don't know. But as of right now, we don't.
Cordero Patterson was trying to court him on Twitter to come to Chicago, and
he's trying to get everybody, ain't he?
He's trying to get all the former Vikings over there in Chicago. And yes, I would love to watch Kirk Cousins pick apart Xavier Rhodes twice a year for the Chicago Bears. That would be entertaining.
Yeah, that'd be pretty good. Something to Adam Thielen just bombs and makes him break his ankles. I don't know. No, that's messed up, man. I
did think it was very interesting, though. It tells a lot about the Vikings and Xavier Rhodes that Trey Waynes was able to get a deal before Rhodes did.
Right on.
And as I've been saying on this show, I like Trey Waynes better as a corner, mostly because of that run support aspect and because he's decent to solid in coverage. He may not be excellent, but he's decent to solid.
Mm-hmm.
I think there was stuff to build on. I think you're right. I think the speed was absolutely there. He's had some times where he's been out of place and then his speed made up for and at least broke up the play, if not ended it. But yeah, as Adam said, Trey Waynes signed with the Bengals. What was it, like $14 million a year, something like that?
Yeah.
A lot of money. Compared to Xavier Rhodes being in the 130s graded last year, Trey Waynes was in the 40s, so that's a lot more respectable. And he's a little bit younger too. So hats off to Trey Waynes. Good luck in Cincinnati.
And the Vikings fans should be happy that he got that kind of deal because that likely means that signing right there for Trey Waynes will turn into a third-round compensatory pick.
Nice.
It's another win for the Vikings, man. Trey Waynes is a 3-year, $42 million deal. All right.
No.
Yeah, I just got the update again from ESPN. Chargers are signing former Vikings defensive tackle Linval Joseph. His deal is 2 years, $17 million. So that's really cool. Just to give you the.
I thought he'd fetch a little more than that, but I'm happy he found a place where he thinks he can be competitive.
Hey, Bob, thanks for joining us.
What's up, Bob? Thanks for joining in and commenting here. Give us your thoughts on this crazy free agency stuff. We'll talk about that. Moving right along. There's a rumor out that the Vikings are likely to bring back Sean Mannion to back up Kirk Cousins. I didn't want to read that out loud. That hurt me physically and emotionally. So you guys can do with that what you will. You got to have a backup for sure. I don't see any positive. I didn't see any promise when he played that game against Chicago.
No.
Just very sloppy and out of sorts. I mean, I guess the only good thing is familiarity. He's already been here a year, but I would love to see someone else. I mean, I don't even know who I could think that's like a decently known backup that we could bring in. I know somebody that I had talked about previously on the show, backup in Chicago, Matt. Was it Matt? He had the beard. He beat the crap out of us last year. I can't think of his name. He actually went to.
Oh, I know who you're talking about, but I'm drawing a total blank right now.
I can't think of his name.
Yeah.
He went to the Detroit Lions, so he stayed in the division and didn't come to us, which is really a bummer. But even somebody like that who's just confident enough, I didn't see that out of Sean Mannion. But for now, looks like he's coming back, which is sad. Another rumor out there.
On the positive, though, okay. Kirk Cousins never seems to get hurt. So hopefully Sean Mannion just never sees the field for Minnesota.
Well, this could also mean that the Vikings are going to look into bringing in a rookie quarterback and maybe pick a rookie quarterback a little bit higher. If they know that, okay, Mannion might not be the answer at backup, we could bring in some competition for him now that the Vikings have all these picks.
Right on.
Ryan, if we could bring in Winston, we would. He's going to demand some money. I don't know that his starting days are still in front of him. Maybe. Who knows? Maybe New England will take a flyer on him. But
wouldn't it be something, though, after that eye surgery, if he could come back and just dominate the league?
Be pretty cool.
Wouldn't that be really funny if that really was an issue and now he's just way better? I could see him going to New England and Bill Belichick just being like, you know what? I'm the greatest of all time. Watch me turn him into an MVP.
Yeah, let me fix you. Let me win a Super Bowl with you.
That's so funny. There's a rumor out right now that the Seattle Seahawks are rumored to have interest in Everson Griffin because why the hell wouldn't they? They steal all of our players. Pete Carroll has links with Everson Griffin. He was a coach in college at USC. The Vikings still hope to retain Griffin, but he wants to test the market. And Mike Zimmer said this a couple of weeks ago that he expects Everson to be back. It looks like Everson wants to flirt with the market a little bit. I'm hoping that he comes back, but I know that Seattle, just from listening to a couple of other podcasts, they do need a pass rusher. So, and it doesn't sound like to me, I don't know if you guys have heard, I have no idea. I'm not a Seattle Seahawks expert, but I don't think they're going to keep Jadeveon Clowney, which I think
doesn't look like it.
Not with the money he wants, no way.
I think he's going to be there. So they might want to go the Everson Griffin route, but I certainly hope not. We will keep you up to date with that.
Seems like Everson just kind of wants to see what's out there, see what his contract is worth on the open market, and kind of use that to negotiate with the Vikings. Make sure he gets a fair deal. I get it. I really don't think that he will go to Seattle. I fully expect him to be back in Minnesota.
I don't expect him back in Minnesota now.
Really?
No, I think that he's going to almost price himself out. And I think that because of some of the issues he's had here in Minnesota, along with his age, I could see Minnesota looking to draft a young defensive end or use some of the ones that they already have on the roster. It's disappointing that Weatherly has moved on because he could have been that guy, but the Vikings weren't going to match Weatherly's salary. But it's not like the Vikings don't have young pass rushers or can't develop pass rushers. So that's not really something that I'd be too terrified about if I were the Vikings. Laying down a massive amount of money for him, I don't see it happening.
Yeah, I will agree with you that I don't think that he will get a big contract from him. So if he's looking for a big contract, that's not going to happen in Minnesota. So if that's what he wants on the table, then he will be going elsewhere. But
because the Star Tribune is saying that he's going to get close to whatever Fowler gets, and I don't see that equivalent at all, considering that Fowler is 25 years old.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Had more sacks than him last year as well, 11 and a half.
And Everson's 31?
I was going to say 31 or 32 maybe, but probably 31.
Yeah, I just don't see that happening. As much as I love Everson, I think Everson's a lot of fun. I enjoy seeing him on the sideline. I know he can win a lot of one-on-ones. But if the money's not there and it doesn't match what the team wants to do, then I don't know.
We're going to bring this up in just a second. Skull Productions there. Let me get to it. Speaking of defense,
logo, cool looking logo there.
Yeah, it's pretty sweet.
Yeah.
Also signing with the Panthers to join another former Viking, which we'll talk about in a second, defensive end Stephen Weatherly. So this is definitely going to be an issue, Adam, if you're right, because we're running out of defensive ends just like we're running out of corners. So kind of should tell you what the draft and free agency is going to be telling to see where we lean.
The best news so far is that I haven't seen a lot of interest swirling on Mackenzie Alexander.
Nope.
So I'm hoping that the Vikings will be able to swing in and get him back because I think he's one of the better young corners in the league right now.
Yeah, that's pretty crazy. You're going to go from 1 year from you have two starters, and then this season going forward, they're going to have two different starters at corner. It's pretty crazy. I would be okay with that, though. As far as this question here, I don't think that Cleveland's going to give up Jarvis Landry for Anthony Harris. They'd have to get some picks from us, which we have extra now. But I would love Jarvis Landry to come. He catches a ton of passes. He's better. I won't say that he's better than Odell Beckham, but he's definitely more reliable because Odell demands so much attention. And with the gap that Stefon Diggs leaves now, I'd love to have that happen, but we would have to give up some capital for that for sure.
And Landry's contract is not nearly as team friendly as Odell's is, so I don't know if the Vikings would try to get Odell. I don't know if I'd be 100% behind that move.
I think they just got rid of one Devo wide receiver, and Mike Zimmer probably don't want to bring in another. Just saying.
Jarvis would be great. He's got a great attitude. Odell, absolutely not.
Yeah.
You would just be repeating the cycle again there. I don't think he would do that. Although he's a hell of a talent. I would argue to say that Odell's just as good, if not better, than Stefon Diggs, even though he's been kind of quiet the last couple of years. OBJ.
One-handed catches in the media will get you pretty far.
Yeah.
He's athletic as shit. I'll give him that, but it's a lot of extra stuff from the New York Giant days. You just look back on and you're like, oh, I don't know if I want that around the team. But that he was talking about Anthony Harris. The Minnesota Vikings have elected to use the team's franchise tag, the non-exclusive franchise tag on safety Anthony Harris. This could potentially keep Harris with the Vikings for another season, but also this could be used to trade him, which there are rumors that the Cleveland Browns are interested, like we talked about. Our offensive coordinator from last year is now the head coach there, Kevin Stefanski. So there's familiarity. Cleveland could potentially offer a second or a third round pick. What do you guys think about that? What do you think Anthony Harris's draft pick value would be worth?
Second round as a Vikings fan. I think if you could get a second round pick out of Anthony Harris, you definitely do that. I believe, just from reading the rumors on the internet, that I think that's why the Vikings put the franchise tag on him. I don't think that there's really any way with the salary cap, even with him doing restructures with Kirk Cousins and other players that they've done. I just don't think they have the cap to do that. So they stick the tag on him. They're going to try to trade him. We'll see what other teams feel that he's worth. It'll be interesting to see what happens, though.
Yeah, the market value for Harris is around $14 million a year, and the tag itself costs around $11. So I could see them wanting to work out a sign and trade kind of deal to be able to get a little bit more capital than if they let him leave and get that third round compensatory pick.
Right.
I know it sounds a little bit stupid or I don't know, maybe unnecessary to try to just move up maybe a round in the draft by getting that franchise tag and using that.
Well, I
but
think
they
it's a
could
smart
also
move.
be using that opportunity to do like they did with Chad Greenway and work out a long-term deal that's a little bit more team friendly with more bonuses and a lower cap hit. So right now, this opens up a lot of doors. The Vikings, if they don't find a deal that they want, then yeah, they could absolutely work out a long-term deal that could benefit both people. But yeah, this is going to be something to watch.
Mm-hmm.
I personally hope he stays, just because I saw how great. I mean, you'd have arguably. I mean, the numbers are there, at least for last year, the best safety tandem in the league. But they're running out of money. I mean, there's we're going to talk about the Kirk Cousins extension later. There's talks about extending Dalvin Cook. There's simply not enough money to go around to keep all this talent. So we'll keep you updated on the Anthony Harris situation.
But I'd like to see a little bit more familiarity in that secondary. I know that we're going to get some backup players to be the starting corners from previous seasons, whether it's like Holton Hill or whoever it is that's going to have to step up. It will be a familiar face, but it'll be a new role to the starting lineup on a regular basis. So it's a little scary. It is a little scary, but we'll have to wait and see.
Yeah. Excuse me.
The Vikings place a second-round tender on linebacker Eric Wilson. Adam, please explain to us all what that means. I don't, he's a good linebacker, but I don't know if he's worth a second-round pick.
Yeah, that's why they put the tender on him so they won't lose him.
Oh, well, there you go. See? You always have a way of explaining it, Adam. Be like, this is why.
I mean, for what they're paying him to be a special teams ace, and he filled in on multiple linebacker spots last year when players went down. He's a very valuable part of this team, and honestly, behind him on the linebacker depth, there isn't much.
Here you go.
Oh. Well, he's not getting much attention on the open market, so if he's coming back, it's going to be for a cheap old deal.
Yeah,
I would imagine.
On Treadwell treatment.
Would he do that? I don't know.
If I'm
Rhodes.
no way I'm doing that.
Yeah.
There's a point to where you meet in between 2 points of reality is we had a terrible year last year, and then you go, look at my whole body of work. This is just one season. I think it's somewhere in the middle there, but that's
Sadly, it hasn't been just one season though.
Right.
If it had been just one season where he hasn't been very good, I'd be like, okay. But yeah, this has been kind of lingering for a while now. I don't know if it's confidence. I don't know if it's his body or what it is, but things just ain't working.
I almost think he could use a change of scenery. Might do him pretty good too. That whole MO. Just get out of Minnesota, get him a fresh start, reset his mind, reset his body.
Man, he could go to Carolina too. They just got rid of James Bradbury. I know they need a corner down there.
Yeah, it'll be the Carolina Vikings.
Yeah, let's talk about that. We talked about Eric Wilson, Trey Waynes. Let's talk about one of our favorites, Teddy Bridgewater. Former Vikings quarterback has signed with the Panthers, and it's not for the time being, at least, unless they do something crazy in the draft. Looks like he's going to be their starter down there. It's a 3-year deal, and I'm excited for him. He's got the best running back in the league as of right now, right behind him. So he's got that. I think DJ Moore is the wide receiver there. He's a good wide receiver. Mm-hmm. It's not like he's going into just absolutely nothing, but I kind of think that Carolina's going to rebuild. That's cool. I'm glad Teddy got some money. I think he's got $30 million guaranteed, somewhere around there. So he's going to get paid. And
Cam is still under contract there.
What's that?
He is.
Cam is still under contract. So keep in mind, they do have Cam. They have granted Cam permission to seek a trade, and Cam took to social media and made it very clear that he never asked to be traded or to pursue a trade. And he writes in the weirdest font on social media. I don't get it, but
it's so it must take so much time to do that. I mean, no wonder you can't post something every single day because it'll take half an hour to put the caption on there.
To me, it's like going on Twitter and just writing in wingdings. It's like, what?
My brother is a Los Angeles Chargers fan, and they need a quarterback now that Philip Rivers is gone, unless you want to run the ship with Tyrod Taylor. But with the personnel they have such a good roster. This seems like a Cam Newton fit all day long.
It sounds like they're planning on Tyrod.
Yeah. Okay. You know more about the Twitter verse than I do.
I like Cam to the Patriots. That seems like an interesting fit to me.
They can afford him. That would be good, but that's only – there's so much going on in free agency, I can't even wrap my mind around it. If he goes to the Patriots, who do they have for him to throw to? Like, they don't have anyone.
A lot of slot receivers.
Yeah.
If anybody can make it work, I think it's Bill Belichick. But
Bill Belichick.
I would personally like to see him go to the Chargers. I think that'd be a good change of scenery.
I really want to see how much of New England is a system. Now that Tom Brady's moving on, whoever ends up there, I want to see if they can pick up and do a fraction or at least half of what Tom Brady was doing and see how much of it was system.
Right?
Depending on what they do this year, I think we can give them a 1 year. Holy crap, we had to readjust after 20 years passed. But with Bill staying there, depending on what quarterback he gets, guys, he went 11-5 with Matt Castle. I mean,
wouldn't it be something if there was no drop off?
It'd be amazing.
Yeah, what if they get to the first round of the playoffs again and they lose? You know how many people are going to just trash Tom Brady? I mean, they've already started. All the guys in New England are ruthless, but
Bill Belichick is going to take some cast-off nobody quarterback and be like, "You're win division with him."
He could. And it's not like his division is super, super tough. I mean, I know they're getting better. Buffalo's looking a little more competitive, and Miami's doing some things.
The Jets are still disgustingly bad. They have so much money too, but nobody wants to play there. It's weird.
Yeah.
So New England could very well have another pretty open road to the playoffs if they can be able to pull off a couple wins here and there.
That's very true. I don't think I mentioned this earlier. Sorry to get back to the Panthers stuff. Teddy Bridgewater is going to be there, and then we mentioned Stephen Weatherly's gone, but I don't know if I mentioned that. He's also signing with the Panthers. So it's going to be a handful of Vikings down there. good luck to all of them, man. That's really cool. That's a stacked division now. But
Is Jay Wright still there?
I heard that he's a free agent, and I am lobbying right now. Thank you so much for saying that, Adam. We got to go get Jarius Wright or Aldrick Robinson back again. We need wide receiver depth. Go get one of those guys. Either one of them.
Yes.
Either one. You know what? The 8-7 in 1 year, not last season, the year before. Didn't Aldrick Robinson have he only caught like a dozen passes and 4 of them were touchdowns?
Yeah, something stupid like that.
Everything he was just wide open. Go get that guy. Obviously, Kirk Cousins in it with him. Jesus. They need to do something there. I was hoping they would make some kind of small move like that. That would make sense. But yes.
Hey, we got Ying Yaj with us in the chat.
Hey, all right. What's up?
Awesome.
Nice to have you back.
Yeah, it's been a little bit.
This next quick hit. Kyle.
I wrote this just for you.
Thaddeus Ham Jr., commonly referred to as CJ. He's coming back for a 3-year contract extension. He's going to make $12.25 million over the next 4 years, $4 million this season. I think this is a fantastic move for the Vikings with everything that Kubiak brings to the running game. Dalvin, I don't know if you guys covered this much, but I know we talked about it amongst ourselves in our side chat, but he said it was kind of weird having a fullback in front of him because he's used to being the guy forever. But I think that tremendously helps. I mean,
it helps.
It kind of reminds me back in the Jerome Felton days when Adrian Peterson hit her. It's always good to have an extra body moving people out of the way for you.
I remember when the Vikings got Tony Richardson, and I was so happy about that because he was just plowing through holes and knocking people over. It was so wonderful.
And for the most part, I know he had a couple of ones last year where we're just like, what the fuck? Like screaming. But for the most part, he can catch pretty well too. But he's a great walker. He's a good guy. And I'm excited.
Minnesota native from the town where I was born.
Oh, nice. Didn't know that.
I think we all like CJ Ham. He's a sneaky good player out there for the team.
And it's also,
although I don't like the nickname Hammer, that doesn't work for me.
Like the object hammer or like the act of being hammered like you're drunk?
I don't know.
Okay. Great talk.
I just like Ham.
Very informed discussion.
There's plenty of great GIFs out there with Ham. When Ham does something good, you post the GIF. Boom.
Yep.
If you're on Twitter, you know exactly what I'm talking about because any Ham play, you'll see that GIF over and over and over.
Yeah, social media, especially with wasn't his daughter the one that went a little viral there for like a couple?
Oh, yeah.
So adorable. We love CJ Ham here. Skull Prod lets us know that the cornerback market is shrinking. Eli Apple is with the Raiders now.
Oh, how did Eli Apple get signed over some of these guys?
John Gruden looked at Xavier Rhodes and Eli Apple and went, I will take Eli Apple.
Oh,
I'm willing to pay him. I didn't pay him a lot, though. I have nothing for defense there. Man. And the last bit here, and we named this episode after this, the Vikings have agreed to a contract extension with punter Britton Colquitt, a 3-year, $9 million deal. Let's break that down for a second. A punter has a 3-year, $9 million deal.
300. It's over a 300% raise from last year, which is triple that money.
Worth it. He's worth it.
As a punter and a holder, I am 100% behind this. I've been reading that they're still in contact with Dan Bailey trying to work out the deals on a contract. I hope they can do that. If not, well, at least there's a holder in place that we know can hold a football, and whatever young guy they got to bring in will do all right. But
you didn't sound too confident in that. They don't, well.
I'm never confident in a new face. I was in on Daniel Carlson. I thought he did okay, and I was seeing some of the holds, and now he's gone. But he'll probably be a kicker in the league for many, many, many years. So I don't know. I don't know if the Vikings are struggling to draft or now that they've got a holder. If they go into the draft or the undrafted free agency to grab a kicker, how that'll work out, I have no idea.
I hope not. I liked the improvement with Dan Bailey last year. I think they should figure that out, but that's just me. I'm not Slick Rick. I don't know all the football.
We also don't know. I remember a few years ago they're talking about Dan Bailey wanting to retire. So
there were a lot of teams even last year too that just could not find a kicker to stabilize their kicking unit, and guys that they'd bring in when other kickers went down, they ended up spending maybe 1 or 2 games before they'd be cut and moving on.
It's very true.
So yeah, finding a long-term answer at kicker, not as easy as you'd think. That's why the Packers spent a little bit of extra money, locked their guy down, and he was one of the top prospects for the Vikings in free agency because he's just been pretty consistent.
What do you say it was? A 300% raise?
Yeah, he made less than $1 million last year.
Wow, that's odd. I mean, hey, he deserves it. He definitely deserves it.
Good agent, and that's what happens when you ball out and make minor changes that not everybody noticed, but when you're the diehard nerds that we are, we're like, what? Where was this?
And keep in mind, he's no youngster. He's what, 35 years old?
34, I think.
Yeah, he's got the experience under his belt. He's good at what he does.
Yeah. Why did Cleveland let him go?
I don't know.
Cleveland, but
let's talk about this for a second. I don't like this at all because let's talk about Nick Foles for a minute and a half here. Nick Foles with the Eagles, he had that crazy season before he won the Super Bowl where it was 27 touchdowns and 2 picks. It was insane. He went to the Rams and he was awful, but that was a Jeff Fisher experience, I believe.
Right.
So he goes to Kansas City.
So it's not his fault.
With Alex Smith and Andy Reid, and Matt Nagy was the OC there. I don't know what it is with Nick Foles against the Vikings. I guess this is that 38-7 PTSD I have, but I think that he's going to go in and going to beat out Mitch Trubisky, not only because he's a better quarterback, which we would all agree, but that contract is just going to be like, hey, look, Mitch, you're now the backup. I don't like that because I think Chicago majorly upgraded at quarterback in this. I'm not saying that they got Patrick Mahomes or anything, but Nick Foles over Mitch Trubisky is a lot better than they were sitting. I
think they'll make Foles beat Trubisky. I think they'll make him do that. And that's something that we'll see happen in training camp and maybe one of the 2 preseason games. Who knows? We won't get to see enough of the preseason to really get a solid evaluation out. There's only going to be maybe 2 preseason games where the starters play. I don't know, but somehow he'll be able to beat him out. I don't know how competitions are going to really work now.
Yeah.
I guess most of the position battles are going to happen in camp now instead of in the first 3 games of preseason. I don't know.
Yeah, that was something that we had mentioned too, talking about the CBA and the new proposal with this coronavirus thing going down and pretty much the whole country taking a step back and isolating. The CBA was agreed upon, so we will be moving to a 17-game schedule, maybe not as early as this year, but maybe next year. And then they also put in 7 teams in each conference to the playoffs, which means the first and the second seed no longer have a bye. It's just the first seed in each conference. So like last year, the Rams would have gotten in and would have played, who's number 2, Green Bay. The year before, the Vikings would have gotten in as the 7th seed. They showed that within the last 10 years, these teams would have made it in with their record. But, yeah, that was something that was initialized. That's what Adam was talking about with not being able to pick these guys out, and they're going to have to do it in camp. But going back to Nick Foles, I think they upgraded. I don't think it's super drastic, but I think he's better than Mitch Trubisky for sure. And he's got familiarity with Nagy. I don't like it because it's going to make the Bears better, and I want them to get worse, but good for them.
But the Bears right now are playing in free agency like it's Major League Baseball instead of the NFL. They're taking on a lot of big contracts, and they're just – I don't really get what they're doing from a lot of aspects, but I don't really – here's the deal. They have a lot of talented players, but I don't think they have a talented team. And I don't know why a lot of teams can't make that come together with having the good players on the field and translating that into wins.
Like Cleveland last year. I mean, Cleveland had a lot of talent. They have a lot of talent.
Super Bowl last year.
And what does Cleveland do? They go out and they get a tight end? They've already got David Njoku. I mean, he's a really good tight end.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah.
It's not like they didn't have weapons in the passing game. That wasn't the problem.
You know what I think last year was for them? And this is just me giving my stupid
Hype?
take on this.
Too much hype.
I think that coach was just not a good coach. I think he was one of the good old boys and boys with Baker Mayfield, but to have what it takes to call the right plays and be a good coach, I don't think he was the fit for that.
Yeah, Quinn and Mack, it should be good on paper, but let's see what Cleveland does, because if they're in a situation again where they tell their best pass rusher to only pass rush one or two styles instead of, opening up their playbook like they have in the past. I still couldn't believe that when I was reading that about Cleveland telling their pass rushers only to bull rush, or, the offense is going to catch on to that. The offensive lineman is going to know how to block you every time.
Yeah, imagine telling Jared Allen, "Hey, Jared, why don't you just stop doing half the things you're doing and only rush the quarterback this one way?
Never spin move. Never use your hands. Just always bull rush.
Just always do that. You'll be fine."
Unless you're John Randall, don't do that. Don't do that. There's some good stuff going on in the chat here too. Robert Quinn next to Mac scares me. I know that sometimes they put Mac at defensive end. He's a linebacker. Robert Quinn's best days, I think, are behind him, but that is a decent upgrade. It's kind of like the Las Vegas Raider thing. Like, Robert Quinn is a name 3 years ago would have been like, oh, cool, that's a pretty good signing. But I don't know. I don't get that for Chicago. Yang Yash says we'd like to see Stuart Michael Pierce sign for DT. I don't know if we have any money for that. I don't know what the going rate is for Ndamukong Suh, but he would just be making his world tour around the NFL in like his 15th team in the last 4 years. So
is he in decline? Is Suh in decline?
I don't know. I couldn't tell you, because where was he at? LA? He was with the Rams, right? You can't judge him when he's next to Aaron Donald, because he's going to look great.
I want to touch on the comment after that one, though. That's the one. I'll be honest, I wasn't 100% worried about Austin Hooper coming to Green Bay. The guy I am worried about coming to Green Bay is Delaney Walker.
Yeah, hopefully they don't do that.
Because Delaney Walker is that blocking tight end that can catch and make plays on a regular basis. And Jimmy Graham was there, couldn't block, was in decline from the offense, didn't have the speed he once had, and they just couldn't take advantage of him. The only time they could was on high point balls against small corners. Delaney Walker can take advantage of almost any player still at his age and his ability. So I'm really hoping, and I've been reading a couple reports here and there that Green Bay has already reached out to him, and I hope that that's not the case, because he can be a mismatched nightmare.
You guys know all about what's going on in free agency. I'm sorry, I'm reading the chat right here. Detroit signed the Eagles' backup swing left tackle, 5 years, $50 million. I mean,
Detroit.
if you have the money to
Be in Detroit.
that's a Matt Patricia signing right there, buddy. Cowboys.
I love how people in the Lions, media too, are trying so hard to learn how to pronounce his name, and I'm not even going to try it.
Who's that?
The backup swing left tackle that the Lions signed.
You guys filibuster. I'm going to try this.
Yeah, because it's it's a piece of work. On
Really?
Twitter, they were trying to break it down, and yeah, it's just.
Where did Jimmy Graham sign with? He signed with someone. Chicago. See, I'm with you, Adam. I don't understand what Chicago's doing. Like, what do they think they're getting out of Jimmy Graham at this point?
I'm not sure.
Like, if it didn't work with Aaron Rodgers,
they're signing a body. I don't really know. I don't know what else to say to that. They're just putting a body in place.
I feel like Nick Foles could bring out the best in Allen Robinson, though. That's what scares me.
Yeah,
because Allen Robinson is a massive monster in a cage in Chicago because they can't connect with him.
Right.
All right, guys. I want you guys to say this with me.
Nope.
We're going to put this on the screen.
Negative.
It is Hala Paluvatai. Hala Paluvatai Vitai. Vitai would be the last name. So Vitai is the last name. Hala.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Hala Pulavati Vitai.
Yeah, you did better than I would have.
Culture.
Now say it again.
But the bad part is you still don't even know if you're right.
No, I have no clue if that's
That's good.
All right, let's get to the main topic here. I have a lot of opinions on we're going to do this backwards order because I want to do the Diggs stuff last. The Vikings agree in principle to a contract extension with Kirk Cousins. Kyle wanted to let you guys know that means that Tom Brady is not coming to Minnesota. Facebook. I know that would have been a great thing to do. We like to take quarterbacks to the very end of their career and try to revive them. That's not happening. But Vikings and Kirk Cousins agree to a 2-year extension. So he's in the last year coming up of the 3-year deal he signed originally. So this keeps him around for 3 more years. His new contract is worth $66 million over 2 years, $61 million guaranteed. He was previously due $29.5 million base salary for this year, which is not bad. You remember everybody freaked out 2 years ago at this time.
Cousins is making more than Tom Brady.
Yeah, that's pretty sad. $29.5 million base salary for 2020, which has been reduced to $10 million, reduced in air quotes. Cousins carries a cap hit of $31 million in 2021 and $45 million in 2022. I'm assuming that the cap will keep going up, but even then, $45 million a year in 2022 sounds pretty disgusting.
The Vikings know how to shift that money to those signing bonuses, though.
That's true,
right?
They have been very good. And yeah, we'll sign Rodgers in 4 years, and I'll be the biggest fanboy ever if we do that. please be a shell of yourself.
Give us the one Brett Favre season. No, you know what? The $45 million in 2022, that's a problem for 2022. Who cares?
Oh, that's good. That's the best thing that's been said on this show yet. F it. We'll just deal with it later.
Well, Adam is right. The Vikings are really good at being like, we'll take this money and convert it to that money, and we'll shove this down here, and who cares? They'll figure it out. They're good with that stuff.
I did the worst thing possible for myself when this happened, just because I wanted to see what the Vikings were going to do. I don't know about you guys. I didn't expect the Vikings to be this busy the last couple of days. I thought it was going to be a very boring offseason for us, but it's been very active.
More active than I thought.
I'm just going to say it out loud, and I'm going to curse. So you guys that don't like that and want me to tell you ahead of time, turn your volume down. But Vikings Twitter has just been pissing me off the last couple of days. And if you guys aren't on board to support Kirk Cousins, you can go fuck yourself.
That's a bold statement.
I didn't want him to stay either. I wanted us to go get someone else, but he's here. He's a viable option. He's above average. And if you don't know basic math and economics, this is what quarterbacks get paid. Go look at Carson Wentz. Go look at Russell Wilson. Go look at Aaron Rodgers.
Go look at Ryan Tannehill.
Yeah.
Exactly. I don't get it. And don't give me that shit about Ryan Tannehill. Well, he got to an AFC Championship game. No, Derrick Henry got to an AFC Championship game. He just happened to be on Derrick Henry's back the whole time, along with the rest of the Titans. I don't want to hear that. This is our guy. Support him. And don't get – as far as I'm concerned, and I know it's not a Super Bowl, please don't think that I'm capping this out as we won a playoff game, so that's our Super Bowl. No, that's not it. All that shit about, he can't win the big games. He won a bunch of big games last year, and he single-handedly won you a playoff game on the road we had no business winning last year. So support the guy. Just support him, because we're not going to upgrade if he leaves. We're not.
I mean, we talk about this all the time. As a Minnesota Vikings fan, he's our quarterback, and we should support our quarterback. That doesn't mean that you have to, when he messes up on the field, you don't have to defend a shitty throw or an interception. Or
criticism's fair.
You can criticize him, but like if you're a fan of the Minnesota Vikings, Kirk Cousins, Captain Kirk, is our quarterback. We should support him. I support him. I will support him.
The thing that I saw the most that made me the most mad was it's F him, F Spielman, F Zimmer. They all need to be fired. No, they don't. We won a playoff game, and we were
the reason for that right now is because of the Diggs trade. People are mad that Diggs is gone and blaming it on Cousins.
That sounds like a Stefon Diggs problem to me.
That definitely sounds like a Stefon Diggs problem to me.
Can we talk about that quote?
Yeah, let's talk about it.
The supposing quote?
Yeah, I want to see some sources on this because I don't know.
So
this is the anonymous source, Adam.
And it's called Minnesota Sports News, and this is a very vague statement, but we'll talk about it because I think it's I think
interesting.
There's truth to this. I do. I think there's truth because Stefon Diggs has been very very cryptic and very vague in a lot of his social media in the last 3 or 4 months. But apparently, a sideline reporter overheard Stefon Diggs saying this to Kirk Cousins in Week 13 against the Seahawks. Quote, "You are making $84 million playing here. Case was making $2 million. The fact that he made a fraction of what you make and poured his heart into this team makes me not want to play here."
If that's true, that is extremely shitty. I can't imagine saying that to like a coworker.
After the Minneapolis Miracle, you can bet that he had felt very strongly about Case. Sure. And the Vikings were never willing to commit to Case, even during the regular season. Through the playoffs, they never said that they were going to commit to Case. And I can see how that would kind of burn Diggs a little bit. Him and Case had a good connection.
Yeah, they did.
But this is the NFL. It's a business. You can't get too attached.
I can take that season right there, and I can show you the team that beat the crap out of us in the playoffs and show you when every single position and every single coach and your schedule and health all line up, you can win a Super Bowl. The Vikings were this close to playing a Super Bowl. Now, even if they had made it, I don't think they would have beat the Patriots that year because they were so fucking good. But the problem with that is the Eagles had this situation where everything lined up right. They had the offensive coordinator we had for like half a season was the quarterback's coach there. Nick Foles was the perfect backup for that system, blah, 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 blah.
Mm-hmm.
Same thing that happened in Minnesota that year. Case Keenum was good with Pat Shurmur, was good with, Adrian Peterson went down and so did Sam Bradford. But we had this split back thing that people aren't really used to us doing, which was a different element.
Mm-hmm.
And let's be real. We should not have won that Saints game because they came back and they had us beat. It was a miracle play, and it's called a miracle for a reason. But when that happened, Stefon Diggs' head was already pretty big. You could see how he played with a chip on his shoulder, which I loved that about him. But it just skyrocketed. And with that quote there, I can't – first off, don't judge anybody on what they make because all of you guys need to make as much money as you can. That's really stupid.
Yeah.
If anybody's going to bitch about making money, Adam Thielen should come over and say, I should be making as much as you do because I outperform you.
I actually felt that way too when Michael Thomas of the Saints was taken to Twitter and talking about, Jason Witten signed that deal. I'd rather be an announcer than a player right now. No, be happy for the guy that worked hard, does a good job, and got paid. Isn't that what the league is all about? Doing your best and doing that to succeed and get paid and everything? Yeah.
Provide for your family.
These cliches of drama wide receivers, and it just irritates the life out of me.
And I get that Diggs wants Case to go on and succeed, and sure, he would have loved that to be in Minnesota.
Sure.
But shouldn't Diggs have been paying attention, seeing, okay, once Case left here, it got really bad for him.
Also,
maybe the Vikings made the right decision.
I would really like to know what specifically about Kirk Cousins that Stefon Diggs doesn't like.
Read and what I've heard, but I don't know that it's official. There's obviously no official quotes because he's not going to come out and say it.
Right.
It'd be a PR nightmare. But the problem that Diggs is, and it's confusing to me because it's contradictory. He's mad because he didn't get the ball as much, which last year, you guys know, he had his best season yet, statistics-wise. Thielen was hurt, so he was the number one, hands down number one. But he didn't like the fact that we run the ball a lot. He wanted to be like the center of attention, the number one player on the offense. And the other thing is, I think that he didn't have a lot of confidence in Kirk because he says, sometimes he's a little gun shy. And he's going to get that in Buffalo. He's going to get a guy who wants to throw the ball everywhere. But the problem is he's one of the least accurate quarterbacks in the league.
He's going from the number one ranked deep thrower last season to number 31.
I know. That was my favorite tweet where someone was making fun of the announcers for the miracle play, where it said sideline
overthrown.
Oh yeah.
Overthrown. Oh man.
I understand. I think.
Let me get this before we start. Then we're talking about the Diggs stuff. We've already talked about the Kirk Cousins contract extension. I woke up to the news from about 15 of my favorite people texting me because they know how much I love the Vikings. The Vikings Diggs Monday night to the Buffalo Bills. They gave up Stefon Diggs and one of their 7th round picks in this draft. The Vikings.
I keep picturing Rick Spielman talking about that 7th round pick like it's gold in the trade. I don't know if I want to give up a 7th rounder.
You know he loves those things.
Yeah.
The Vikings received the Buffalo Bills 2020 first-round pick at number 22, a fifth-round pick this year, a sixth-round pick this year, and a fourth in 2021 next year.
The fact they were able to get that with the contract Diggs has, the fact that he hasn't played a 16-game season in his whole career, he's never had a season with double-digit touchdowns, and the fact that he's been kind of running his mouth on Twitter constantly, oh my goodness. Amazing.
You know what I think, too? I think the Vikings, I think both teams won in this because they both got a lot of what they wanted and needed. The Vikings obviously didn't want to get rid of him, I don't think, but he kind of...
I honestly believe they had no intention on trading him.
I don't think so either, but look at his Twitter account.
But I think once that offer was put in front of them, they were like, okay. Yeah, absolutely. The rule is that no player in the NFL is untradeable. You put the right offer in front of them, and a deal will get done.
Yeah.
Well, what's crazy when we think about it, and I know this is common sense because a lot of people have said it, especially in the comments section that aren't even Viking fans on social media, how Stefon Diggs goes for a first, a fifth, a sixth, and a fourth, and DeAndre Hopkins goes for a second and a fourth is fucking beyond me because he's better than Diggs. He just is.
Yeah.
But that's Bill O'Brien, who is acting as head coach, and you can see that the emotions got the best of him in that trade. Well, they got a crappy injured running back too. Like, I don't want to. But
at one point, David Johnson was a monster.
Yeah, he was.
Oh, he was a beast. I had him on my fantasy team.
At one point, we're not at that point.
one of the best running backs in the league. He got beat out not only by their number one, which is Kenyon Drake, but he got beat out by the number 2 guy in Arizona last year.
It's true.
It's crazy to me, but. And they have Duke Johnson in Houston. Like, he's a serviceable running back. What? I don't. That's Houston Texan problems we don't have. But this is a nice one here. Can they trade for Trent Williams like a third or a fifth? I don't know if Washington is going to take that low of it. I don't know.
Well, here's the deal. If they try to package something with Riley Reif, first of all, that's horrible for Reif because he'd be going back to Washington and he hated it there. So please don't do that to him. Second of all, I don't think Riley Reif's bad enough that you really got to replace him. If they wanted to get an interior guard, maybe I don't know, whatever really good guard they have. I'm still not on the replace the left tackle train, so maybe these guys are with you.
I don't know. I would love to see somebody of that magnitude come in because he's really good when he's at his peak. But I'm with you guys. With the money, if we had money to spend like the Colts or the Jets, go do it. But we don't. There's just going to take some finessing. And
Very
you know
true.
what? After the Stefon Diggs trade and maybe an Anthony Harris trade coming up soon, we're going to have a shitload of draft picks, and I like all of those. So go get as many people as you can. You cast a wider net, you're bound to hit more. So let's do it.
Well, let's talk about those picks for a second. Because right now we have to assume that one of those picks is going to be a wide receiver.
Yes, 100%. Now, here's a question. Is it one of the first rounds that you're thinking we're going to pick a wide receiver with? Or how many? We've got 5 picks in the first 3 rounds, right?
Correct.
So I know it'll definitely be one of those. But are you saying that you think a wide receiver will be in round 1 at one of those picks?
Absolutely.
Okay.
I think it's going to be a corner and a wide receiver in round 1.
I'm 100% with you. I don't know which is going to come first, and I don't know who. But 100%. Those are the biggest glaring needs at the moment.
The next couple of rounds, we'll see a couple other needs come off the board in terms of their importance. We'll see an interior offensive lineman. We'll see an interior defensive lineman. Positions are just going to start getting filled.
Mm-hmm. And the Vikings have the ammo at this point, too, where they can trade up, they can trade down, they can do a lot of movement. I think probably you will see a lot of 4 and back, like those middle rounds where you'll see the Vikings do a lot of different trades and stuff, I bet.
There's a lot of fans on Twitter trying to work out what the highest position the Vikings could trade up to would be, and honestly, I don't think they really need to work on trading up. They need to make the most of the picks they do have.
Yeah, I don't think they'll trade up too high because they have too many other positions to fill.
Yeah,
Maybe in
now.
the later rounds they could trade up, but right now I just don't see it in like round 1 or 2 or 3.
Yeah, like I said, rounds 4 and further, definitely there will be movement, but I just don't see, because that's what Rick Spielman likes to do, move around in the later rounds of the draft. But
I'll tell you what, right here, Skull Prod. The only way I would do this, the only way I do this trade is with Anthony Harris involved. If you get somebody's first, or you could swap with that, that'd be great. That's the only way. Jeff Okudah is going to go in the top 10, I believe. He's a phenomenal corner, but we're not going to be anywhere near that.
we get that second round pick for Eric Wilson.
Yeah. So here's another one that a lot of people have talked about, but I want to throw it out there because people are still talking about it now. What are the chances we get Stefon Diggs' brother or Antoine Winfield Jr. now that we have 2 picks in the first round? I think that's a lot more likely now that we have 2.
It would be amazing if they drafted Diggs' brother just to fuck with Stefon.
I'll be honest, the first round, it's going to be a wide receiver. One of these guys is going to be Lamb, Judy, Ruggs, or Higgins. Personally, I really want to see Higgins. I am a big fan of T. Higgins. I love his big body size. I love the aggression he can go to the ball with. He may not have that blazing top gear, but man, he can run some routes and he can make some catches.
That sounds too much like Laquan Treadwell.
I was just going to say, I'm having
right?
Yeah, but I don't know.
Make it stop.
If you're looking for that home run hitter, it's probably not him. But he can make those big plays. He can make those jump balls. And right now, the only player on the Vikings that can really make those jump balls is Kyle Rudolph. And he hasn't really been doing that at a high rate the last couple of seasons either.
Me and Skull Prod are on the same team. I want Jared Judy. I think he'll be gone by the time 22 rolls around. But
oh, yeah.
I like him a lot as well. CeeDee Lamb's a good receiver. I mean, this is a wide receiver heavy draft, especially in the top 2 rounds. But
I don't think you can go wrong in the first round with any of the 4 guys I named.
I don't think so. And then there's pretty good corners and safeties in this draft as well. So we'll have options. And the good thing is there's still
now, I do want to say that I think the cornerback group in this class is very top heavy. I think once you get like past Okudah or Henderson or Fulton, Diggs, Terrell, Gladney, things just kind of fall off. So if you can't get one of those top guys, I'm not sure that you're going to do very well.
Who is Josh Jones? What position does this guy play? I don't know who this is.
Josh Jones.
Skull Prod, let us know because it's not familiar off the top. I have not done any kind of draft prep at all. My mind is on fire from the last 48 hours of news. Here's the boldest thing I've ever read. 2 first rounds, 1 next year, 1 this year, to get 2 if he drops out of the top 5. You know, Yang, if that were actually going to happen, I wouldn't be terribly mad about it. He's not going to be at number 6 at the latest.
Houston looks like an offensive tackle. No wonder why I haven't really looked at him.
Oh, tackle's not too bad. All right.
Yeah, I haven't done a lot of looking at offensive tackles because, like I said, I don't see that as being the priority right now. I need to get that left guard spot sorted out because last year that was disgustingly bad.
We do need a corner, Pia Cat, so that's very, 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 very viable. It depends on what the grade is on him, though. I don't know what round he's going to be there. But the good thing is we need more than 1 corner, so I would expect to see at least 2 taken in this draft.
Yep. I'm expecting at least 2 corners in the draft. Even if they do sign one back, I'm expecting some young talent to come into that secondary. And I'm also still waiting to see this is going to be a signing that might be a couple weeks away, but I still think that Anderson Dejo will end up coming back. So, yeah.
Yeah, I think so too.
At least some familiarity. Yeah, no wonder I didn't recognize that name immediately because, yeah, like I said, left tackle to me, well, it would be cool to find a swing tackle that they could have at a cheap price or a backup. Yeah, I'm still not 100% on this replace Riley Reef thing, so yeah.
Joe Thuney is actually back with the Patriots, I believe. I'm almost positive they tagged him. I want to say. Just one of the things I saw. It's just I can't remember basic stuff that I need to survive sometimes, but all this random bullshit that I've seen on Instagram, it's just like, no, they tagged him. No, he's here now. Like,
Yeah.
cool. Yang Yao just talked more about Tua. Dude, I don't think Tua is going. If he drops all the way to 6, the Chargers need a quarterback. They'll take him. Miami. He's going to drop to Miami because the Bengals are going to take Joe Burrow, which they probably should. But
so unless a quarterback makes a disgustingly far fall,
yeah,
do you expect the Vikings to draft one in the first 3 rounds?
No.
I don't either.
No.
No.
I don't even. Now it's this extension. Before the extension, when there was only 1 year left on Kirk, I could have saw them drafting one, develop, maybe try to find a long-term starter for the future. Yeah, I'd have been behind that. But now it's this extension. It almost takes the early round quarterback off the table.
I agree with you, Adam.
So
which can be kind of ouchy.
To kind of round this out just a second, talking about the Stefon Diggs stuff. No bad blood here. I don't like the way it ended. I definitely did not like his behavior personally. Who am I? Best of luck to you in Buffalo. I think this is a brilliant move by Rick Spielman. He's going to the different conference. He's going to be playing outside in one of the coldest places in America, and the quarterback is known for being wildly inaccurate. I see a lot of upside. He reminds me a lot of Ben Roethlisberger, the way he moves around, and he can extend plays a little bit like Cam Newton because he's so big and runs well. But
so which former Viking was more annoying on social media? Was it Stefon Diggs or J-Ron Curse?
I'm going to be nicer about Diggs because he was a better player.
J-Ron Curse.
He's an I get that you're mad that you're not getting playing time, but then you go out and get in trouble with the law. That's not going to help your case.
Here's the thing about Diggs to Buffalo. I always like to, when like one of our big players gets traded or signed with another team, well, let's go see what the Buffalo media is writing about. And of course, they're all loving this trade. He's going to be a good fit. Guys, there's absolutely no reason to think that Stefon Diggs is going to be happy in Buffalo. At all. There's no reason to believe that he's not going to just immediately start doing the same shit that he was doing in Minnesota with Buffalo. They're saying, "Oh, it's a good fit because it's a good contract.
He can be the pure number 1 there."
He could very well want a big contract extension right away from Buffalo.
So many podcasts in the last 2 days, being that all this happened, and just wanting to hear everyone's thoughts on it because it has to do with Minnesota being in the national spotlight.
Right.
A lot of people are thinking he's going to ask for a bigger contract.
Yes, he's going to.
I think that he's in a good situation up there. They do have John Brown, who's a decent number 2, and then they have Cole Beasley for the slot. All 3 of them can kind of do different things as well.
John Brown might be a better deep threat than he is.
Maybe.
But then again, when you're running on a field of ice with snow falling, who knows?
They're a team that's on the rise, and I can see why they went and made a splash. But I'm trying not to trash Diggs because I love the kid to death. It's just been such a bitter, ugly meltdown the last couple of months. Here's
the thing about wide receivers, man. What was Diggs originally? Was he a 4th or a 5th round pick?
5th.
5th? You find these guys all over the place.
Yeah.
If I'm the Buffalo Bills, I'm not giving up a 1st, a 5th, a 6th, and a 4th for a receiver.
But they did.
Go to the draft.
But they got a 7th back.
Yeah, they got a 7th back. Go to the draft. Don't trust your scouts and don't trade all that for stuff.
That was funny.
I get Buffalo saying that they're only a couple pieces away from being a lot better. I get it. But I don't think that this was their answer, especially in a draft so heavy with wide receivers.
Receivers, yeah.
Maybe they think that they don't have the time for a young receiver to come along. But receivers are quite possibly the easiest position to transition from college to the NFL.
Yeah.
I mean, I'd understand drafting a corner if you want him to be good in a couple of years and take over a starting spot or something like that, because corner is really hard to get used to when you adjust from college to the NFL. Wide receiver, things don't change that much. Some terminology, maybe a couple different rules, but otherwise it's the same.
I mean, someone out here has to have done the research. How many times do we see like, oh, this is the top wide receiver in free agency that goes to their second team, and then they're like, you forget about him in 2 years because it just doesn't work out.
Yeah.
And then you got the wide receivers too that just kind of blow your mind. At one time, I really thought Sammy Watkins was going to be a superstar.
Yeah.
In the NFL, and the Bills thought that he was going to be a superstar. They traded the house for him, and now the Bills are kind of they made that trade again. They traded the house, and I know that Stefon Diggs may look like he is a star in Minnesota, but how much of that was the quarterback play, the running the ball to open him up deep? I'm just not 100% sold that he's going to have the kind of success in Minnesota that he's going to have in Buffalo.
I don't think Diggs liked being a part of a wide receiver tandem. I don't think that he liked being mentioned as he wants to be the number one, and he's a competitor. I get it. He wants
Absolutely.
to be the number one guy, and it was always Thielen and Diggs in Minnesota. It was never just Stephon Diggs. It was always Thielen and Diggs, the two wide receivers for the Vikings. And I get it. I mean, he's a competitive guy. Is that...
If you can't rest your hat on the Minnesota Miracle, I don't know what you can.
Right?
Well, for me, I don't know why the hell he hates Kirk Cousins so much. You've had your two best years as a receiver with him there. You have and here's the other thing, too. I know he wants to be the guy. He wants to be Antonio Brown. He wants to be DeAndre Hopkins.
They all want to be the guy. They're competitive.
You have Adam Thielen here, who gets just as much attention as you, which means you're going to be open more. Who cares?
I know, right?
You guys have won, they won, what, 18 games in the last 2 seasons, and then they won 13 the year before?
But here's the other thing. Kirk Cousins is not going to force the ball to you.
No,
he's not gonna. There's a reason why he had such a good, touchdown to interception ratio last year. It's because he made smart passes.
Out of this world. I don't get it, man. I just don't understand it. I don't know why that was such a big – it's such an emphasis on something so small that was blown out of proportion. But
don't get me wrong. Like most Vikings fans that enjoyed watching him play, I hope he can find his happiness, and I hope that he can do well there.
You too.
Not well enough that he brings a Super Bowl to Buffalo before Because, that would burn a little bit if Buffalo got to the big dance and got a win before the Vikings. That would burn.
A little bit. Just a little bit.
Well, I don't really know what to say for the Diggs stuff. I wish you well, only when you don't have a good game and you play against Minnesota. I don't know how he's going to fare up there, if he's going to last a whole season. He hasn't yet. Maybe he will. Maybe he'll break the spell, and this will be perfect for him. But I like what the Buffalo Bills gave the Vikings as far as compensation. And you're right. I think they're going to get a wide receiver early. It scares the living shit out of me because we just don't draft wide receivers well in the first round. But, I'm excited. There's a lot of a week ago, I would have never guessed we would have, 12, 13 picks this year? It's insane.
Give me some of that T. Higgins. Bring him on.
Hey.
I really want to see Minnesota with a big wide receiver. I haven't seen it. And I know that, Thielen's 6'2", and Diggs was 6'1", and 6'4" doesn't sound like that big of a difference, but a 6'4" wide receiver can beat a lot of 5'10", 5'9" corners.
He's close to Julio Jones size, right?
He's a big fella.
I don't know. That'd be great.
And he high points the ball really well.
There's a steal on its own. You're right. They flipped. It's just like flipping a house. You put the time and investment into it. He worked hard as well. I'll give Diggs a credit. It's a 5th rounder, had injury history, and he's worth a first and more. This is a great trade for us. Kind of forced, like we mentioned earlier, but hey, we didn't get fleeced like the Cardinals, as Adam said in our chat.
It's true.
Texans, they got fleeced really, really hard, but I'm happy with this. The Vikings are going to be super active in this draft, and I don't think they're done making moves with free agency just now starting 13 minutes ago. So we'll see. They're still going to be
Officially starting.
What's that?
Officially starting.
Yeah, officially 13 minutes ago, even though everybody and their mother has packed bags and went somewhere new.
Oh, yeah.
That's funny.
Now, I know that a lot of free agency is happening from remote locations right now, and that's a little bit different because of the concerns for the virus and everything. But I love that the NFL is trying to find ways to make sports still happen without endangering a lot of people. And the fact that they've been able to execute free agency so far, and that they're planning to go forward with the draft, even if it's Roger Goodell reading names off a card in an office while they go to remote locations.
I'm fine with that. We could use some. We all need some fun distractions right now, and NFL free agency has just been like this little nuggets of just like awesome news sprinkled in amongst everything else right now. It's
and
just
I know, like other organizations, like the WWE is getting ripped on a little bit right now because they pulled all their shows from everywhere else, and they're putting on their shows from the performance center with a limited number of people, and a lot of it is like replays from the past and maybe a lot more interviews and stuff. But the fact that they still want to entertain, that they still want to bring something to people, and that the people themselves that are trying to entertain want to be there and are risking their health to entertain us, that means a lot.
Yeah, I really does. This whole crazy situation at the end of the show as well. I have to give a shout out just because I was in that world with the guys that had to work on the holidays and the weekends and never got a thank you for it from anybody else but the people that were there with you, which is super annoying. Doing the military police stuff for a while, but I should give a shout out to all the cops and all the nurses and all the first responders and the EMTs, the firefighters going through all this stuff right now, because the hospitals are way overcrowded. The cops are having to deal with a lot more crime because they don't want to be exposed and they don't want other people exposing each other. I know certain cities have said, hey, we're not going to be going after these certain kind of cases right now. So basically, unless you're murdering someone or robbing a bank, you're probably not going to show up unless it's an absolute emergency, which is nuts. I thought that's how the purge started. But
and virus tests are still very limited.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, it's a scary time.
It's definitely weird. I do want to touch on the fact that whether you believe this is a real problem or not, it's never a bad thing to err on the side of caution. I talked to Kyle West about this today for a good 20 minutes. We went back and forth and shared our belief in this stuff. The problem is not the virus itself, from my knowledge and asking others who are in that profession. The virus itself probably won't kill a lot of people, but it's so contagious that it'll spread super rapidly. And the problem with that being is, let's say all of us here in this chat and everybody here got it. Maybe all of us don't die from it. Maybe we don't have major health complications, but we want to be seen. The hospitals can't take on this number. They can't take this many people on. We just don't have the resources for that. So the way we beat this is limiting ourselves, scaling it back for a month or two, and we curve the growing rate of the number of cases of guys who were confirmed. Because there are famous guys that have gotten this too. Rudy Gobert shut down the NBA. Kevin Durant was confirmed today that he has the coronavirus. So the shit is real.
Tom Hanks, Idris Elba.
He's got it. He's got Idris Elba. I mean, it's real, guys. Just if you don't have to go out, don't. And if you go out, make sure it's on a limited basis. Cover your mouth. Wash your hands all the time. Like do your part.
If you're not afraid for yourself, be afraid for those around you who can't deal for themselves. Be afraid for your grandma who's not feeling well. Mm-hmm. Be afraid for the infant that's struggling and hasn't quite gotten a great immune system yet. Be afraid for your sister or cousin who's going through kidney failure and is susceptible to diseases. If you're a healthy person, and yeah, this might not kill you, make sure to stop and think about the people around you that you love, because you could be putting them at a larger risk than you're putting yourself in.
I told Kyle about this today, and it really irritated me. I went to Buffalo Wild Wings on Sunday, and a guy sat down right next to me and was making a very open joke about it, like he didn't take it serious. And I thought of my son, and just because I want to shout this guy out anyways, because you guys can see the John Randall stuff right back here. I got this custom art. If you go to That's Badass Wood Art on Instagram, you can get this stuff. This was made
John Randall.
This is me and my son. This is a photo, and he did it. It was a great job. I think about awesome. This time, man. And I'm not trying to get all sentimental and do this weird thing about it, but this guy may have very well been infected. There's not enough tests to test everyone. And what if I want to go visit my son in a couple of weeks because I miss him? What if I have it and I give it to him because some asshole at the bar sat down next to me and didn't take this seriously? So this is crazy, man. This is a weird time. I've never seen anything like this before, but I hope that everybody takes precautionary measures.
I'm in the Upper Peninsula of Michigan right now, and that's where I've been living. And while there are no confirmed cases yet in the Upper Peninsula of Michigan, it doesn't mean that it's not here.
That's the worst part about it.
Yeah.
A lot of places that I see online that people are bitching because the NBA and the celebrities who got tested, they have money, guys. I'm not saying this is right at all, but they're rich. Of course they're going to get tested immediately. They have the resources
right?
to go around that. That's why they're getting those before the general public. But these are just the cases that we know about. There are definitely hundreds of thousands, if not millions of people out there across the world who have it and they don't even know that they have it. So if you see the symptoms and the signs, do your fair share of research for 10 minutes on the internet, figure it out, and stay home. That's it.
Yeah, and make sure that you've got enough in your house to be able to last a little while. I'm not saying to go out and swarm grocery stores and take all the toilet paper and canned goods you can off the shelf, but make sure that you can survive for a little while in your house, just in case. So yeah, I know that this is a scary time, and I'm glad the NFL is still there for us right now. The WWE is still there. The late night talk shows are doing their shows from a webcam in their house, which that's something I didn't know that I'd think I'd ever see, but it's happening. And it's nice that we can still have that kind of entertainment, even though movie productions being shut down, TV productions being shut down. You know, that movie that you're looking forward to, that game you're looking forward to, we may have to wait a little bit longer to see it, but it's so much worth it to err on the side of caution and not let so many bad things happen that, yeah, we can wait a little while for the next Marvel movie to drop.
Yeah, and so much is available digitally, and there are movie studios that are releasing films like earlier, like on iTunes or whatever, that like you don't have to go to the store to buy a movie or buy, like you can legally download pretty much anything that you need.
Oh, there are so many great programs out there. Crackle, one of them just got bought by
Tubi TV.
Fox. Tubi TV just got bought by Fox.
Tubi TV got bought. Yeah, that's a good one because that one's free to use. You don't even have to sign up for it.
Nope, that's a free one, just like Crackle. There's a lot of great movie sites out there. Vudu is known for being a sales site, but you can watch a lot of movies on there with ads, and, as well as ad-free.
They rotate free movies on there all the time.
So yeah, I hope that you guys can find things to do in your home to try to relax with your family and just, I don't know, maybe just spend more time with your family. Love your family. Appreciate what you've got, because right now a lot of the rest of the world is in chaos.
Yeah, we'll all get through this. There's ways to get around it. There might be a little bit of cabin fever going around, you know, as this progresses on, but we'll figure it out. We have the way to communicate. We're going to keep doing the show from right here like we've always been doing. So we're going to keep that up to date, and we're going to keep you as informed as we can with the Vikings. But just had to touch on this craziness that's going on right now, man. This is
it's impacted everything, so it's hard not to talk about it.
Yeah, shutting down the entire world.
We're still here.
Yeah, I mean, thank God.
I feel a little bit blessed to be in an area where I'm so secluded from everything, where it would take a long time to reach me unless direct contact came in and happened, which is still possible. I feel for the people that are in cities because they have to take a lot more precaution. If I was still living down in St. Paul, I'd be a lot more terrified.
Right.
I'd probably be paranoid a bit. Here, I can just, I've stocked up on cat food. I'm all good.
What's all this pet food for? Fiber. Shout out to Ace Ventura. I should watch that tonight. Oh man,
that movie does not hold up by social standards. That's for sure. If you're watching for some PC content, you're not going to get it.
That movie is incredible, and anybody that thinks it's too over the top, you can go fuck off.
Oh, it's highly offensive, but that's some of that's what's funny about it.
Stay with my youth. Well, that's all I got for this show. There's a lot that we covered, and we still have a month and some change until the draft comes around. We'll keep you up to date next week and the weeks leading up to the draft of what happens with some of the free agents we talked about. With the Anthony Harris stuff, we'll see what happens there. But the dominoes are going to fall. I suspect within like 2 weeks, everything will kind of be settled down. The dust will clear, and we'll have a better idea of where the Vikings are going to go for this draft coming up very soon.
Absolutely. And next week, remember, we will have a full 7-round mock draft coming to you from Kyle West because he loves those things.
You betcha. It'll be 100% accurate. I think I will do an 8th round mock.
Ooh.
I'm going to go all the way to round number 8.
Nice.
Don't give away.
Doesn't exist.
You make all these people earn that. All right. Don't give any spoilers away.
Yeah.
Put it behind that paywall. Only fans or fans only, whatever it's called.
Yeah. What is that? OnlyFans? I don't know.
It's
I know
one
what
of
you're
those
talking
two.
about. Patreon. That's on our non-existent Patreon account.
I watch a lot of like reaction videos for music that I really like. It brings me great joy to watch people finally understand some of the songs that I like. But every one of those things are the same. Hit the like button, subscribe, click that notification bell, join me on Patreon. I'm so sick of hearing those all jumbled together.
But we don't even run ads.
What's that?
We don't even run ads.
Yeah. Okay. You're welcome, guys. You're welcome.
And by the way, I have notified him already, but to the winner of the Survival League, I sent out your prize package. I know we're super duper late, but hopefully you'll get it soon. And if you want to, send us a video of you enjoying your stuff because there's some pretty fun stuff in there. Feel free to do so, or if you just want to shoot us over a text or something and let us know when you got it and what you think, that'd be really awesome.
I mailed the T-shirt out, the Purple People Podcast shirt out yesterday, and it should be there by Saturday. So if you're watching,
by the next podcast, you should have all the stuff. All right. And as of now, I'm still planning on doing another Survival League next year. So hopefully everybody who's listening can get in on that action because I had a lot of fun doing it, even though I've had to throw it the last couple of years. So please get in there. Make me not pick the Jaguars and other teams.
Pick the Bills.
There you go.
I'm going to vote for Adam here because this is just now one of the best times ever to go to this website because there's so much happening with the Vikings. Check out thevikingage.com, our own Adam Carlson down there at the bottom of this pyramid of beautiful faces we have going on right now. He writes for that page, and if you click on one of his articles and interact with him and comment, he gets more rent money because that's how he gets paid. Check out the Vikings.
You got to pay that mortgage.
They have a slew of good writers there. And they have good content for any of your Vikings needs. It's very Viking specific, obviously, with that title there. You get every little piece of information and some of the stuff we might not have mentioned on the show. So
I wrote a fun piece looking into some of the great reasons bringing back Britton Skolquitt was a fantastic move. I've also still got my 7-round mock, which I wish that I'd have been able to include some of those Stefon Diggs picks in there before I published that thing because I could have filled a lot more needs, but you know, you can take a look at who I've got my eye on that way anyway. And before we plug Phantasm Digital, which I think is absolutely amazing, I do want to say Undead Walking needs to be checked out if you are a big fan of The Walking Dead because not only have the last 2 episodes been amazing and shocking and just great, but this episode coming this Sunday is another big one because this isn't a spoiler. It's already been revealed by AMC. This will be the last episode for Michonne. So it's going to be a farewell to her, and it should be a highly emotional and just really big episode for the series. So make sure to check out and come back and talk with us on Undead Walking because it's going to be hard to say goodbye to yesterday.
I need to get caught up on Walking Dead. I'm a couple seasons behind, but
season 10 is so good. So good. When you get caught up
at some point, I'm going to sit down and
10, you'll love it. I'm still kind of sad over how I didn't enjoy 7 and 8, but man, 9 and 10 have made up for it. I'm glad I stuck with it and really, I don't know, got to love a lot more of the characters than who was just there, you know? Some of the new faces. They're so good.
Right. You can check my website out too, although I think I'm going to be switching to a different provider, a different host for my my artwork here soon. I'm kind of looking into some different options for that. But for right now, I still got the same store up online. It's phantasmdigital.com. You can see a lot of my different artwork. I got some Purple People podcast stuff up there as well too. So check that out. Let me know what you think. But yeah, I've been looking into doing something a little bit different with it. So
in the meantime, get yourself a Purple People Podcast coffee mug.
Right.
I hear it does a great job holding coffee. You can drink right out of it. And it helps support us. And we don't really ask you guys for much.
No.
Aside from coming in here and chatting with us. We love that.
To do right now, go to these pages, like and subscribe. Tell your friends about
I do have one other thing I'd like to ask you guys to do, though. Every once in a while, if you see a question pop up on our social media, jot down a little something. It helps us to interact with you guys, and we can do a little bit more of our social media stuff because we enjoy hearing from you guys and sharing other people's opinions, even if they aren't ones that we agree with. So it'd be good to get a couple more voices here on the show.
Yeah, Adam is saying this because we had no help with that.
Perhaps that was not a good question. That happens sometimes too.
Are you kidding me? We only ask the best question.
I don't know. Maybe this week we'll ask if there's a wide receiver in the draft that they'd like to try to bring in and who their favorite options are. Because right now, talking about that Stefon Diggs stuff is big.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Like, is there a wide receiver in the draft or free agency that you think could replace Stefon Diggs?
Let's do it. We'll do that. We'll post that one up.
Of course, but when I say replace, I mean with the good stuff, like the production, the touchdowns, not the cryptic tweets. We don't want a new Viking player to come in and just tweet weird stuff. But yeah, that's all I've got for you here. As Kyle said, please like, share, subscribe if you can. If not, that's okay too. We enjoy you having you here just to talk about Vikings football with us during this time because, yeah, it might be a little bit of a weird time right now, but there's still things that can bring us together, and something fun like this podcast is great for all of us. So thank you to everyone who joined us. Thank you to everyone who comments on social media. And we look forward to being here for you next week to talk more Vikings football. Stay classy, Minnesota.